Hello everybody, this is Dr. Bashir Bouhania from the University of Adrar, Algeria. My communication today is about a phenomenon that has been noticed in the exam papers of university students at the Department of English. This communication is in fact reporting the misuse of the verb to exist as to be exist by South Algerian EFL learners. The corpus of study consists of more than 2,500 exam papers for the academic years 2003 until 2013 in the fields of discourse typology, linguistics, phonetics, and phonology. Our hypothesis is that this error is induced, and the results and analyses show that the wrong verb is significantly present in a number of exam sheets. Other verbs are misused with the same manner, such as to depend, used as is depended, to belong as is belong. As an introduction, we have various results from different studies in the Arab world, which show that Arab EFL learners have tremendous problems to write in English. They find it as a complex process, and errors are, as such, unavoidable and are part of the learning process. As Red, 1993, said, errors are systematic and reasoned, so they become consistent even if the students learn the rules of English grammar. Why would we use error analysis? Error analysis was implemented in the late 1960s and early 1970s, as reported in Corder 1967. It investigates actual errors made by learners, and it is different from contrastive analysis, which predicted errors were not found in practice. For Corder 1967, errors are important in and for themselves. What is error analysis? It is a linguistic analysis of errors made by language learners. It seeks to find the errors which are due to the native language. It compares between the errors made in the target language and second language. It is a technique which tries to explain the learner's language errors. What is the methodology of error analysis? It consists of collecting errors, identifying errors, classifying errors into types, reporting the frequency of errors and types, identifying the areas of difficulty in L2, determining sources of errors, determining seriousness of errors, and finally finding remedies by the instructor in the classroom. The sources of errors are, in this actual study, we will try to ask the following question: is the use of to be exist due to the system of interlanguage rules, i.e. the learner's linguistic development between the source language and the target language? Or is it due to first language interference, also referred to as interference error? Or is it the negative interference of the mother tongue on L2 acquisition? Or is it due to interlingual interference, also referred to as developmental error, when students hypothesize about the target language based on their limited knowledge? Are errors due to lexical, syntactic, or discourse interference? Intralingual interference, which is the incorrect generalization of the rules within TL, such as false analogy, misanalysis, incomplete rule application, redundancy exploitation, overlooking co-occurrence, hypercorrection, and overgeneralization. The error can also be induced, as stated by Stenson, 1983. That is, the error resulting from the classroom situation, teacher explanation, and practice. For James, 1998, induced errors are material-induced errors, teacher talk-induced errors, and exercise-based induced errors, all of which are categorized as classroom-based errors. To define an error, we can say that it is part of the system or language rules and is not seen as wrong by the learners. It is unwanted by teachers. It is often rejected as unexpected form. It is frequent and is not corrected by the learner, but by the teacher. It is a deviation from the correct form, that is, the native speaker norm. It is a gap in the learner's knowledge because he doesn't know if it is correct or not. Now, what is a mistake? A mistake is the learner's occasional lapse. A mistake refers to a performance error and happens when the learner doesn't know how to put his knowledge into practice or how to perform his competence. Second language learners can often correct their own mistakes. What are the sources of influence on EFL learning? The first is interlingual transfer, that is, the influence of the learner's mother tongue, phonological, syntactic, and lexical semantic levels on the learning of a foreign language. Or it could be intralingual transfer, which is a universal characteristic found in the learner's attempts to simplify the learning process. Or it is due to interference of the mother tongue, which is obvious in the wrong use of the target language grammatical structures. Now, what is the theoretical background of this research? Arab learners of English face difficulties to learn English both in its spoken and written forms, as has been reported in Abbad 1988, Hisham 2008, Rababa 2003, Tahine 2010, Zurul and Taminian 1984. In the case of Algeria, most difficulties are at the level of English phonemes, syntactic constructions, and semantic meanings, as reported in Ben Rabah 1999 and 2002, Lakhal Ayat Barmati 2008, Shawana 2010, and Razik 2011. What are the possible causes? We have the low quality of teaching at the intermediate, secondary, and university levels, the low level of competence of the pupils and the undergraduate students, impact of the mother tongue, phonology and syntax on the learning process, curricula and teaching methodology are inconsistent, lack of the target language environment, such as summer linguistic village, language immersion, or Bain linguistic. Pupils and students' lack of motivation, and finally, instrumentality of the foreign language, such as job seeking, chatting, and tourism. The research questions of this study are: is the misused verb an error or a mistake? Is it local, just to the university or other, or is it widespread? Is it recent or old? Localization of the research. The research has taken place in Adra, which is a South Algerian department, which sprang from the 1974 administrative division of the country into wilayas, that is, departments or districts. Adra is a city far 1,500 kilometers from the capital city, Algiers. It is formerly known as Touat and consists of three main areas: Gurera in the north, the Touat in the middle, and the Tidikalt in the south. The University of Adra was created by the Presidential Decree number 86-118 in 1986, and the Department of English was opened in 1991. Now, the methodology of the research consists of a corpus of study. The corpus is composed of 2,525 exam papers. And the exam papers have come from the academic years 2002 and 2003 until 2013, apart 2004, 5, and 6, and 7, which were missing from the archives. And the fields of study are discourse typology, linguistics, sociolinguistics, phonetics, and phonology. The first results. Out of 2,525 exam sheets, only 67, which means 2.65%, contain the wrong verb forms. The number of tokens is 78. 47 students have this error in their exam papers. 5 students repeated the error more than once and throughout the years. Students who misuse the verb are males, 9, and females, 58. The misused word is found in the exams of linguistics, 60 or 76.92%, phonology, 14 students or 17.94%, and discourse typology, 4 students or 5.12%, as reported in graph number 1. The academic years 2009, 2008, and 10 record the highest use of the wrong forms. The token is found mainly in the second term exams more than in the first, the makeup and the remedial exam. Students who misuse the verb to exist belong to the 4 levels of English in the classical system and the first year LMD system, LMD which stands for the BMD, Bachelor, Master and Doctorate academic levels. The students who make use of the wrong verb come from the 3 areas of the 12th difficult Gurera. Some students even come from other departments such as Bashar, Mnia, Radaya and Tlemcen. Now, examples of the wrong form. We have several wrong forms, such as the verb is exists or is exists in the verb present, does exists, are exists, is existing in the continuous. We have it also with the auxiliary and the negative particle, such as is not exists, does not exist, and are not exists, with s at the end. We also have it as with adverbs as is also, is still, is already, exists, again with s at the end. And we have it also with never, such as is does never exists. We also find it with the modal, such as must be exist. Other examples, we have the auxiliary and the verb in the past, is existed, was existed. We have it also with the negative part, as was not existed and are not existed. We have another example, not already existed and should be existed. And also we have it as being non-existent. And then we have the word, miscellaneous word, existence. Now, the analysis of the results says that the mistakes which occur just once are 24. We find them in 24 exam sheets, and they represent 30.76%. The errors which occur more than once are found in 54 exam papers and represent 69.23%. And the students who come from other administrative departments and who present a mistake and error are just 4 students. We have examples of individual errors and mistakes. If we take student number 1, for example, the student number 1 has 5 errors, and we find that the student has made these errors in the academic year 2008, 2009, 2009 and 10, 2010, 11, and 2012, 13, which means 4 years. Student number 2, for example, has 3 errors from the academic year 2007 and 2008 and 9. And so on and so forth. We have student number 3, number 4, and number 5, which have only 2 errors in 2 academic years. Now, concerning the interlingual and intralingual transfer, we can say that the interlingual transfer from the mother tongue to the target language is not probable in this case, for the construction to be exists does not exist in Arabic, which means that the influence of the mother tongue is not felt in this case. Intralingual transfer is more probable. As an evidence for this assertion are the following examples found in the students' exam papers. Are belong, are disappear, is deferred, is defer, are deferring, with the meaning is different from, is depend, is depended, for it depends on, is finded, for is found, is happened instead of has happened, and can identified, should be know, can use it, can defines, do not born, did not born, can said that, could not appeared, I can says that, etc. Many wrong uses of English grammatical constructions. Now, as a conclusion and discussion, the misuse verb to be exists is present in the student's written composition in a significant way, that is 78 exam papers. The students who make this error and mistake come not only from the various areas of the Tuareg Gurara, but also from the other districts such as Tlemcen, Menia, Bashar, and so on. The latter result shows that this written fault is more widespread than it seems. So, answering the questions that we have asked in the beginning concerning the research questions, we have said, is this error due to is this error local or widespread? So we have the answer, which is that this is not local, so because we have students coming from other departments, so it is widespread. Is it recent or old? It is an old mistake, error I mean, because we find this in the exams going back to 2003, and maybe before because we couldn't find the archives, but we are sure that this error goes back as far back to the 1998, 1997, or the very first years of the first promotions of English at the University of Adar. So thank you for your attendance, and if there are any questions, you are welcome.